Yes, ma'am.
Dr. Abul?
Yeah, I'm there. I'm there.
Vijayagiri?
Yeah, madam.
Yeah, and Dr. Prabhu. Thank you. Okay, so this is just a message from Dr. VRK. This is something about one second. No. Life is a mix of shades as nature is a mix of colors. So we have this achievements and awards session, the non-academic achievement, experience sharing award. And I request Dr. Ilandarian to come on stage.
Yeah. Good afternoon, one and all. After a heated debate and intense session, I hope this comes as a relief, because this is more of a non-academic presentation, and this is like I feel like Komali within a group of cooks. Anyway, I'm happy and proud to do the role of a Komali, and I've named my topic as Secret at 7. The 7 here signifies the 7 minutes which has been allotted for my presentation, and 7 slides here where I would like to share my secret. 7 is always a very auspicious number, the 7-trunked elephant of Indra there on the picture. And then we have the 7 Saptarishis, 7 colors of the rainbow, 7 days of a week, and things like that. And when I asked Pabe Madam what I was supposed to talk, she just said, you seem to do a lot of things apart from pediatric surgery, you can talk on them. So that gives me a free will to blow my own trumpet for some time. Don't worry, I won't do it for more than a minute. My passions, starting from childhood, have been about art and writing. This is one of my arts. I've done that with a soft pastel at Crow. It's a crayon work, and I always enjoy doing small write-ups, social write-ups or write-ups on such arts. And photography again is one of my passions. This is a heart-wrenching photograph of a child carrying food for her mother during the floods here in Kadalur. And I do a lot of mobile photography. It is all street photography. That is my area of interest. And wildlife, of course, is something very close to my heart. We travel a lot in the Western Ghats. We do photography tours with groups, also in and around our town as well. And dance, I'm associated with a dance group called the RAC Academy of Dance. We form the adult team of that. A couple of us doctors, a few engineers, and we, of course, do it for fun. And our last performance was in 2019 in Kamarajar Arangam at Chennai, and we all enjoy that. And Silabam is something which I've got introduced to in the lockdown, and I thoroughly enjoy it. It's a wonderful art form, a beautiful martial art. And what all these art forms do is they just open up the mind. And I'm extremely thankful and blessed that I'm able to pursue all of my passions comfortably. And the purpose of any art, I feel, is to express, not to impress. And continuing with some of my social passions, disaster relief, we do have a small team. We go there during any disaster, be it Uttarakhand, the Kerala, Okipuyal, Chennai, Kadalur, wherever we have disaster. We just go there, camp with them, find out their needs, cater to their needs. And it has given us a beautiful learning experience in life. And we support education. We adopt children from government schools in and around Kadalur. We have been doing this since 2011. We try to put them into medicine. That is our focus. In the past 4 or 5 years, we've been coaching them for NEET. And that girl there is our first success story. She has got into Trichy Medical College, Agalya Street. And that has been an inspiration to keep continuing the work. And nature and conservation, Kadalur being a seashore area, we do a lot of olive ridley work, a lot of reptile conservation, and many other things, parenting and health workshops, child empowerment, social upliftment, or IMA's crisis management. All these MENTs are actually meant to improve or bring about a positive change in lives of people. I don't know whether they have brought about such change in others, but definitely there's brought about a very positive change in my life. And the purpose of any quality work, I feel, is to inspire, not to acquire. And it definitely has inspired me a lot. And I hope it inspires more people in the future. And I stop my trumpeting with that and move on to the core issue of my presentation, which is sharing a secret, something which is very valuable, which I feel has helped me a lot. The platform on which I stand today, as a doctor, as a parent, or as a human being, whatever it may be. yoga. Yoga is something which is very close to my heart. I've been a practitioner of yoga for the past 20 years, and I've been teaching yoga for about 12 years to children. And yoga is actually a way of life, because there are a lot of misconceptions. People think yoga is about a health tool, yoga is for bringing about peace in life, things like that. It is actually a very energizing and a dynamic tool, and it is suited for any age group, because people think, have a lot of misconceptions. They think it is for children, they have to learn yoga so that they can perform better in academics, or for old people after retirement to fill their life or to manage their health. Definitely not. Yoga is a very dynamic tool. It is a very modern day tool, and you have a lot of things in yoga which can actually empower you, enrich you, and actually improve you as a person in every way of life. Be it the way you talk, the way you walk. Even walk is important, because yoga deals with a lot of posture corrections and things like that, which ultimately translate into the good work which you do professionally or personally. Yoga means to unite, yuj. So that's the word in Sanskrit. Unite what? Unite you with your own self. What does that mean? We have various aspects of personality: the mental aspect, the physical aspect, and the emotional aspect. And all this has to be integrated for us to become better individuals. This is the basic concept of life. And yoga exactly does that. It has various limbs which support all these components: asanas for the body, pranayama for the mind. Often people think pranayama is something for oxygenation, something related to lungs. Definitely not. Pranayama is something which is connected to the brain. It energizes you through the techniques. And relaxation or all those meditation techniques are definite soul satisfying experiences. And the key word here is awareness. How aware are we about our own selves, about these various aspects of personality, about where we lack, where we are strong? And yoga is one tool which deals with all these things. And if you look at it, we cannot have in this modern day world something for the body, something like a workout for the body. If you go for something to relax your mind, something to satisfy your soul, then the dynamic world demands so much of time. And yoga fits in the bill by being one-stop solution for all this and integrating all this. That is the specialty of yoga. So coming on to the last slide as an illustration of how aware we are, just a small thing, a demo, or rather going into our basics, the most elemental thing we do, breathing. How right are we in breathing? Because if you notice a child who's 1 year old or 2 year old, you'll notice it's an abdominal breathing. That is the most natural way of breathing. But if you notice today, even you or your family member who's there sitting, if you ask them to take a deep breath in, they do like that. That's a clavicular and thoracic breathing. And we are so used to it. We have deviated a lot from normalcy that we are doing thoracic breathing. And yoga does, what yoga does is put us back to track. It insists on the abdominal or the diaphragmatic breathing or the yogic breathing, which is the most natural way of breathing. And that's not the end of the breathing. Nasal cycle. Again, how many of us know for 23 hours a day, breathing happens only through one of the nostrils. It's either the right or the left. So if you want to check, you just have to put your fingers, 4 fingers here, just one inch away from the nostril. Do a strong exhalation and see. You can test it right now. You will find only one of your nostrils will be dominant at any point of time for 23 hours. And that is very significant. Scientifically speaking, that is because of the congestion of the inferior turbinates that happens alternatively. And what it signifies is more important. We have two hemispheres, we know that, left and the right. And when there is a right nostril breathing, that influences or activates the left brain. And when there is a left nostril breathing, that activates the right brain. This is very important because the left brain has specific functions which are dynamic. Which, for example, we have to drive fast, we have to reach a place, or we have to do a surgery, then the left brain has to be active. And when we need to do creative work, the right brain has to act active, like doing a conference or doing a presentation, whatever it is. So when there is a perfect balance, then that part of the brain activates to do that work. We need to train this. And this is what pranayama does. Something which looks physical, like alternate nostril breathing, has a great influence on the brain. And this is where yoga acts as a very subtle and a very powerful tool. So to conclude, I would say if each one of you or any of you gets an opportunity, kindly get introduced to yoga. That would be my message for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Elandarian. Just waiting for the conference where we can all be together and you can have a session early morning, 6 o'clock at Ooty maybe. Thanks a lot. Thank you. All of us appreciate your talk. Dr. Abul Hassan.
Yeah, Pavai, good afternoon to all of you. And congratulations to the organizing committee. We had a wonder. Can I have my slides, Dr. Sultana, please? Yeah. Can you hear me, Dr. Pavai? Hello?
I think Ilandaran, you'll have to stop sharing. Ilandaran,
Yes, ma'am.
stop sharing, please.
Yeah. Stop share. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. For the first one, the first slide, please. First one. Yeah. Good afternoon, my dear colleagues. You all know that apart from my pediatric surgery life, I have equally very tiring public life too. I have been speaking these activities in so many other forums, but I am very happy to speak to my family members, because all of you who are listening to me today are having same kind of routine in our career. So I'm very happy to talk to you. Why I manage balance two lives, two kind of activities in my career. One is professional and another one is social. Because I always believe that since my childhood that our doctor has a power, has a huge power, Himalayan power to impact a society. So that's what it drives me to do all this kind of activity. I am known for these two major activities. You all know it was initiated 15 years ago. I have built a home for terminally ill cancer patients in 2006. The then President, Dr. Abdul Kalam, who was president at that point of time, he came to my place, E-Road, and inaugurated this home, wherein so far we had treated more than 1,200 terminally ill cancer patients. We have given hospice care, palliative care, rehabilitation care, and they all lived their last breath. You know what I mean? They all lived their up to their last breath in my home. That is one thing, and still I'm continuing. I have been getting lots of help from our colleagues. Still, I have nearly kind of more than 50 lakhs of rupees as a donation for that, and I will be going to do another project somewhere near Vellore in another few months' time. And the second one is a G1 program, which also started at the same time, and to teach people, particularly police people and also students, about the basic life support, because we all believe that at that point of cardiac arrest and somebody helps to keep the heart, the patient will survive. This technique without any injection and oxygen, I have been motivating. Next slide. And I would like to share two of my recent huge projects which I have done in my place. One is Vatasatam. Vatasatam means in Tamil that you grow and also gain weight according to your age. So this project is about alleviating malnutrition in my district. This is a huge project I have taken. I found that there are so many malnourished children in the schools. There are programs by the government like ICDS program for the children below 5 years of age. But from first standard to, that is 5 years to 17 years up to +2, there is only one program for the malnutrition, that is midday meal scheme. You know that the midday meal scheme is not addressing fully about the protein, particularly protein and malnutrition in children. So I have launched this program, Vatasatam. That means we screen all the children. We have nearly 7 lakh children in E-Road district from both plains and hill areas. So we have been covering covered 72 schools so far and adopted 6,200 children so far. And because of the COVID intervention, the screening stopped for a while, and it will continue. And can I have next slide, please? And it was started with the full support of the collector, CEO. You can see that people are holding this protein powder. It was designed by me, which could give 18 gram %, which is compared to Horlicks and Complan, which is 21 gram %. And this is made up of natural ingredients like ragi and thinai and so many other grains. that has been distributed to every child of this 6,000. And every month we measure them. Every month we give them 1 kg of that powder, 30 grams per day. And we are measuring their height and weight and other assessment for nutrition with 2 qualified professional nutritionists. So, and we have found that people are catching up growth very well. Can I have the next slide? And we see that every time we visit them, they are gaining weight. And we are making another graph. These are all the prevalence. Next slide, please. And we have categorized, that underweight, wasted, severe acute malnutrition, and so on. And with the help of government, we have a team in a jeep. They will go every school and measure, assess their nutrition, screen them, and then every time we add. This is a 13 crore project. And so far we have spent nearly 1 crore. And we will come out with a report of the outcome of this project very soon after this COVID pandemic. That is one thing. Can I have the next one? The other one is another more recent, the other one, that is emergency COVID care center. You know that in the beginning of April, there was a huge dearth of oxygen beds, huge scarcity of oxygen bed because of the second COVID wave in our country. And particularly in the western parts of Tamil Nadu, I found that so many people died on the ambulances itself. One day, even in a single day, I found in Erode alone, 10 people died in ambulances alone because of lack of oxygen beds, both in the government sector and the private sector. So I immediately indulged in the action of creating an emergency COVID care center with 150 oxygen beds. Within 2 to 3 beds days time, acquiring about 100 oxygen concentrators immediately from China. One of the industrialists paid one-time payment of 1 crore rupees for the Chinese company, and we could get the oxygen concentrator within 24 to 48 hours time. And with additional oxygen cylinders, we could do that in a hospital called Krishna Jyoti Hospital. The minister, you can see, inaugurating the center. And we have employed 10 doctors, 50 nurses, and 50 additional workers. Everything in 2 to 3 days time. We started admitting patients with oxygen beds completely free. This is another huge hit in my area, that we give the whole treatment, even injections, all kinds of injections, including remdesivir. We gave to some patients freely. And we have treated, next slide, please. You can see that we have converted the adjacent school also into hospital, and the nuns in the hospital, and also the nearby places volunteered to help it. Next slide, please. Next slide. Yeah, you can see the makeshift hospital there. We have joined, were available, but majority of them were school benches joined together as a cot of the hospital, and matters are given. Next slide. Yeah, oxygen concentrators on work. You can see the 100 concentrators you put into use immediately for those patients. Next slide. This is a team I can show you. Our team is done under the civil society organization called Voliram Erode Foundation. You can see myself along with my fellow trustees and all doctors and so many male nurses help in addition to nuns who are available at the convent. Next slide. This is the concluding ceremony. We have run this, next slide. Yeah, we have run this for 75 days till the scarcity of oxygen bed gets free, relaxed, and then we stopped this program a week ago, and we have treated 2,417 COVID patients. Only 5 people died in our center, very sick patients. Most of the patients came with 70 to 80% of saturation, and with a dedicated doctor's team, with a consultation from pulmonologists, we could save all of them with the free medicines, free food, and free service. This is one of the very great service impacted the society. in my place. Thank you very much, all my colleagues, for patient listening.
Thank you, Abul. It's a great service. We are very, very proud to have you among us. Thank you, Abu.
Thank you.
Vijayagiri?
Right.
Good afternoon, everyone. Respected teachers, professors, and my dear friends. Greetings from Mettupalayam, a small town located in the foothills of Nilgiris, and it is 40 kilometers from our Coimbatore. I would like to share my experience with Rotary and as a pediatric surgeon, what I do in our small place, Mettupalayam, and about myself. So I was fortunate enough to be a Rotarian for the past 10 years. And one of the programs that I was associated with Rotary was an occasional training team. So I was fortunate enough to be included in Rotary's medical mission to Nigeria in 2020, where more than 20 surgical specialists across various disciplines participated in a surgical mission program in Jos, Nigeria. About Jos, it is a tertiary referral center for the entire region, a 500-bedded hospital located 400 kilometers from the capital, Abuja. In our country, in our government hospital, everything is provided free. But in Nigeria, even in government hospital, patient has to spend money from the packet even to see a doctor, even in OP and surgery. So patients tend to prolong their illness and they come at very late stage in Nigeria. For an example, we treat anorectal anomaly, all 3 stages completed within 6 months to 1 year in our country. But this girl child was born with an anorectal anomaly, now 10 years old, initial colostomy done, but the child has been living with the colostomy for the past 10 to 12 years. Imagine the plight of the child with and the parents not able to go to school and other things. The corrective surgery was performed and similarly 4 anorectal procedures have been done, all in the age group of 10 to 15 years. So this is a professor of pediatric surgery there and assistant professor, and there was given one resident, surgical resident. We performed the first surgery, bilateral herniatomy. The child name was Good Luck. So we started with Good Luck, our medical mission. And around, as a team, we performed among our surgeons, we performed around 600 surgical procedures in 2 weeks' time. And as I was the sole pediatric surgeon there, so as a pediatric surgeon, we did around 50 pediatric surgical cases. Among them, cloacal exstrophy repair, anorectals 4 cases, a case of biliary atresia with the postoperatively congenital adrenal hyperplasia, Phyllodes tumor, and for the first time, a laparoscopic procedure was done. Pediatric laparoscopic procedure was done in that institute. So umbilical hernia was the commonest surgery and inguinal hernia, other regular surgeries that we do regularly here. So apart from surgery, local doctors, residents are trained in various procedures. You can see the umbilical hernia was very common in that area. And you can see the children. The only thing that is the congenital adrenal hyperplasia, the feminizing genitoplasty was done, and a few Phyllodes tumor, a cloacal exstrophy, and in general surgery as well. One general surgeon assisted me, and I used to go with other specialists as well, like in general surgery and gynec and obstetric surgeries as well. We see huge thyroids. And in hysterectomies, lot of HIV patients we operated, and in uterus preserving fibroid removals have been done in gynec surgeries as well. The only monitor available during the entire procedure was this pulse oximeter. We don't have enough very high-tech gadgets for the monitoring purpose. So during this is a Rotary Global Grant. We provided around 30 lakhs worth instruments to the hospital, like the several cataract surgeries has been done, lot of instruments have been given, even from pediatric surgical side, we gave laparoscopic instruments as well. Few trocars and laparoscopic instruments we gave. And the other projects that I was very passionate about, this is Project HEAL. As a president of the Rotary Club of Metropolitan 2 years back, I initiated this project. This is a massive 3.3 crore project, the fight against breast cancer and cervical cancer. A van with advanced digital mammogram device is fitted inside a machine and pap smear testing equipment. In association with our medical partner KMCH, we have started this project. Last year, we have inaugurated on February 4th. This was handed over to our medical partner, and our Rotary will be constantly doing medical camps in each and every region, 100 kilometers around our Metropolitan. So far, we have done 3 camps. Because of this COVID situation, we could not go further camps. Nearly around in these 3 camps, there are nearly around 400 beneficiaries. First camp was done in Metropolitan, second one is done in Tirupur, and third one in Erode. The other project, which was as a president of Rotary Metropolitan, we did a COVID global grant of Project CARE. We gave a digital X-ray machine, and we set up a post-operative ward unit with the 15-bedded post-operative care with all the monitoring facilities and high-tech ECG machines and other things. So it was a 40 lakh project. It was done in a 1 month time during the COVID situation. Because of this post-operative ward and other thing, we have started doing laparoscopy as well. I used to take my laparoscopy instruments to government hospital. We got permission from our JD as well to do surgeries. So I associate constantly with our government hospital, and we have started laparoscopy as well. There are 3 general surgeons. I used to train them all. So far, we have done 30 laparoscopic surgeries in government hospital. Now the government hospital itself has brought their own laparoscopic set of instruments, and the doctors have started doing basic procedures. Even we have trained the gynec surgeons to do basic lap, ovarian work, and sterilization work. This one, everyone knows, last month we did the polyductal cyst surgery. Nearly 4.5 hours it took. So the surgery went very smoothly, and even our district collector tagged the good job being done in government hospital. High-end surgeries are done, and he tagged CM and health secretary, and there was a full prize for government hospital. Previously, the image of the government hospital was everyone, the patient used, the public used, there was a belief that all the patients are shifted to Coimbatore. Now they have started believing, and last week the surgery was done from Pollachi, a patient from Pollachi. They insisted to come and do surgery in Metropolitan. So that was the reputation, the government hospital, the name was totally changed. And the last in the government, the Doctors' Day Awards, our Dr. Kannan, Chief Medical Officer, got award from CM for the Best Doctor Award. And in our hospital, I have one nursing home with 15-bedded. This surgery, the fetus in situ, completely formed fetus with amniotic fluid and amniotic sac. This surgery was done in our hospital, and they came as a very poor background, so the entire surgery was done free of cost, and it gave a lot of public image to me as well. And first thoracoscopy surgery was also done in our hospital in Metropolitan. This was the first time thoracoscopic extralobar pulmonary sequestration was done. And I associate with the Rotary, with Kerala flood workers as well. And we provided relief materials to, during the Kerala flood relief, and I conducted medical camps in Wayanad and other places in flood hit places. And another thing I was very proud to be associated with Rotary is providing a prosthetic limbs for the people who lost their hands. Our Rotary Metropolitan is one of our the fitment center. We created a Guinness record of giving 500 plus prosthetic limb in a day for around 500 patients in and around Metropolitan. This was a huge public image for our Rotary Metropolitan. This was you can see each LN4 fitment cost around 20,000 rupees. and they are able to eat, they are able to drive even vehicles as well. So I was associated with Rotary during the year 2017. I was the secretary. I was adjudged the best district secretary among 140 clubs covering Tamil Nadu and Kerala. And I was also adjudged the best president of Rotary in 2019-20, covering all 140 clubs. So the Virudugal Award, they also judged me Best Doctor Award. And I received the Best Doctor Award from Collector and CM as well. Thank you. At this juncture, I would like to thank my teachers, Professor Dr. Ravi Kumar, Dr. Ram Kumar sir, Dr. Rajamani sir, Dr. Kumaran sir, Dr. Pave madam, Dr. Adiman sir from Madurai. When I did my MS in Madurai, he was my inspiration. He instilled pediatric surgery in my mind during my MS in Madurai Medical College. And I thank all the teachers and supporting thing. Mainly, I thank Dr. Ravi Kumar sir, who instilled the passion to do pediatric surgery in a peripheral setup like Medical College. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Vijayagiri. Thank you. So I think all these three people have shown us how success in life is not only academic success. Thank you. And now to the last presentation. Prabhu, are you there? Dr. Prabhu? He's just trying to make us tech smart. So he's just going to do a short presentation, how all the pediatric surgeons are going to become tech smart.
Yes, ma'am. We have to unshare the screen, ma'am. The previous.
Yeah. Giri, can you unshare the?
One second. Second.
Thank you, Giri.
Thank you, Dr. Just give me a second. I'm sorry for the delay. Yeah. Good morning, and I'm Dr. Prabhu. Currently doing, I'm qualified from KKCT Chennai, and currently doing my pediatric pediatric urology fellowship in SGPJ Lucknow. I can see a lot of my teachers in here. I thought this is a golden opportunity. Thank you for TPPS for the opportunity. This is an app that particularly. Am I audible, ma'am? Am I audible?
Yes, Prabhu, you're audible. Carry on. Yeah.
This is an app, app designed by me, and there's a tech team to help me out to get this app on. So its name is Savior's Patch, and this is I just want to put forth what can be done with this app. So the idea of this app is, for example, here we are going to discuss about, I'm going to tell you about five important components of this app: ActiveBook, Logbook, Loop, and Calendar. So how it is going to help the doctors is what I'm going to present it to you. Here is a doctor, enters the patient detail into the logbook, and after that the doctor decides whether I have to discuss this case with our own fraternity. If he wants to discuss the case with our own fraternity, then he uses the logbook. If he wants to discuss or loop in any other person, any other doctor within the fraternity or out of the fraternity, then he uses Loop. And after getting the inputs from ActiveBook or Loop, then he decides how to take the decision on the patient, if at all warranted. And here is a calendar that helps the doctor to organize the day in terms of profession. Here's a profile. In this profile, the doctor can project himself the way the world wants to see him or her. So now I'm getting into the real-time scenario. Just I'm describing it with the real-time scenario with one of my teachers' name. And let us assume here is Dr. Sendil Ganesh, and here is the 4-year-old. He has entered in the logbook, the 4-year-old male child with failed hypospadias. After he entered the data of failed hypospadias, he decided that we'll discuss this amongst the fraternity within the ActiveBook. So then he puts also he decides that he'll bring in he'll loop in few physicians who are within the fraternity or away from the fraternity to discuss the same case. And he gets the input, and let us see how calendar helps Dr. Senthil Ganesh and how he himself projects within the profile. So that with this introduction, this is the logbook where doctor enters the case details. These are the patient details, and these are the procedure details, which can be aided by ICD-10 for writing the proper diagnosis. Once you can add all your photographs here, which can be displayed here. And once this is done, this is how at the end of it will look like. And this can be made, this is offline. You can make it real time by adding any other physician here who has aided in the case, or you can make it real time by adding the date or scheduling. The patient also can be scheduled for the procedure. And finally, you can intimate the patient also with the help of the number, that whatever message you want to text to the patient, you can text it without your number being displayed to the patient. So this is how you can make the logbook real time. The data in the logbook. Now let us see how he's going to in the this is how he's going to use